Imagine standing trapped between a roaring sea and an army that wants you dead. No weapons, no escape, only fear and one impossible choice. But to understand how this moment happened, we have to rewind the story. It all began years earlier, in a land ruled by fear. Egypt was powerful, rich, cruel, and the Israelites were slaves. They were beaten, worked until their bodies broke. Their cries filled the night, and Pharaoh was afraid of their numbers. So he made a brutal order. Every Hebrew baby boy must die. In that darkness, one child was born. His mother hid him for as long as she could. Then, with shaking hands, she placed him in a basket and set him afloat on the Nile. That baby was Moses. Against all odds, Pharaoh's own daughter found him. She raised him in the palace, surrounded by luxury. Yet deep inside, Moses knew he did not belong. Years later, Moses saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew slave. Anger exploded inside him. He struck the Egyptian and killed him. Fear took over. Moses ran from the palace, from his past, from himself. He became a shepherd in the wilderness, a nobody. 40 years passed. Then one day, everything changed. A bush burst into flames, but it did not burn. Moses stepped closer, and a voice called his name. God spoke. "I have seen the suffering of my people," God said. "I am sending you to Pharaoh." Moses froze. "Me? I can't speak well. I'm not brave. I'm not a leader." God answered calmly, "I will be with you." Still trembling, Moses obeyed. He returned to Egypt, face to face with Pharaoh, and said the words that shook a kingdom. "Let my people go." Pharaoh laughed and said, "No." So the signs began. Water turned to blood. Frogs covered the land. Darkness swallowed the sun. But Pharaoh's heart grew harder. Then came the final night. Death passed through Egypt, and Pharaoh finally broke. "Go," he shouted. "Leave now." The Israelites ran into the desert, free at last. But it didn't end there. Pharaoh changed his mind. Chariots thundered behind them. Dust filled the air. The people panicked. Ahead of them, the Red Sea. Behind them, death. They cried out to Moses, "Why did you bring us here to die?" Moses stood still, heart pounding, hands shaking. Then he raised his staff. The wind howled. The sea split apart. Walls of water rose on both sides. A path appeared where none existed. The people walked through, step by step, on dry ground. When the Egyptian army followed, the waters crashed back. Silence. Then joy. Tears, songs of praise. They were free. Moses, once a fearful shepherd, had become a leader of faith. Not because he was strong, but because God was faithful. And this story still speaks today. When you feel trapped, when fear is louder than hope, when the way forward seems impossible, remember the sea can still part. If stories like this strengthen your faith and remind you that God still makes a way, consider subscribing and walking with us through more powerful Bible stories.